Sir.
Chief Judge McGee and members of the Court of Appeals, Chief Justice Beasley and members of the State Supreme Court, Governor Easley and Ms. Easley, family and friends of Judge Young, may it please the court.
Yes, sir.
Years ago, there was a movie, there were 3 movies, Indiana Jones movies. If he lives long enough, there may be more, I gather, if the actor does. But in the first one, they're searching for the Holy Grail. And ultimately, a group of nefarious folks find it. Indiana Jones also finds it. And so they're there contesting with each other as to who should get it. And there's the knight is guarding the tomb. And he challenges each of those trying to get it to make a choice. And various choices are made, and they each die because they made the wrong choice. Indiana Jones makes the right choice, to which the ancient knight says, "You have chosen wisely." Well, Governor Cooper has chosen wisely in selecting Reuben Young as a member of this court. Reuben comes from a family of extremely high achievers. He and his wife are both lawyers. I'll get to his accomplishments here in a moment. But his wife, in addition to being a member of the bar, has heretofore been chairman of the Industrial Commission, an administrator in the university system, and presently serves as deputy director of DMV. His 2 sons, Brandon and Avery. Brandon is in medical school, Avery in law school. His late brother, John, and I found out something that I didn't know about Reuben until I got to preparing for this. He is one of 6 boys born to his mom and daddy. He's apparently the youngest, I've been led to believe and understand. But his late brother, Jim, was the CEO and president of First Citizens Trust Bank of Atlanta. His nephew, Justin, who I think is here today, is a physician in Los Angeles. His father, B.C. Young, was the pastor here at Rush Metropolitan AME Zion Church for 16 years, after having served churches in Mississippi and Tennessee. On learning that, I knew how Reuben had acquired the first skill I ever noticed he had. In January of 2001, 2 weeks after Governor Easley had taken office and Reuben and I went to work for him, the annual Martin Luther King celebration occurred over here in the Baptist church on the corner, 1 block up from us. Reuben led the procession out. Reverend Harshaw, the governor, the other members of the pulpit. And as Reuben came out of the back door, leading them, he turned and raised his arm. Everyone stand. I thought to myself, that's a dignified man. And I was to learn a lot more about Reuben as time went along. And my apologies for turning my side to the court.
Sir. You have good sides, I'm sure, all around. So.
But I wanted to be sure everybody saw, because it's important. It's important as we go along here. Reuben now has 32 years of professional seasoning after having graduated from the NCCU Law School. 32 years of professional seasoning preparing him to serve on this court. He has served in Texas as a member of the Attorney General's office, as a prosecutor, as a civil trial lawyer. He came back here in 1995, went to work with the Attorney General's office. During that time, between 1995 and 2001, he represented the Department of Crime Control and Public Safety, advising law enforcement officers all over this state, advising the Highway Patrol. In 2001, when Governor Easley was elected, he selected Reuben as his deputy legal counsel. And Reuben served in that role for a year and a half and then became chief legal counsel to Governor Easley. During that time, during the 8 years he was with Governor Easley, there were well over 40 death penalty cases pending in this state at various stages that Reuben had to review the entire transcript, the entire record, and study the briefs in order to prepare the governor for the commutation hearing. He acquired during that process and before, but certainly during that process, the strong ability to review facts, to assess them, to apply the law to the facts, to look at every angle of a case, because I can tell you, having worked with two governors, that is the greatest burden that a governor bears, is deciding what to do with those cases. And you do not want to make a mistake. You want to review it thoroughly, carefully, and intelligently. He went on to become Secretary of Crime Control and Public Safety under Governor Perdue, and then became the first Secretary of the newly created Department of Public Safety in 2012, and served in that role for a year. Governor Perdue appointed him as a special Superior Court judge, and for 5 years, from January of 2013 until January of 2 years ago, 17, he served in that role, holding court all over the state and receiving high marks from all litigants. Plaintiffs, defendants, prosecutors, law enforcement were all impressed with Reuben and the conduct of his courts. Here in the last year and a half, he has served as the Chief Deputy Secretary of the Department of Public Safety, responsible for the Division of Corrections and the Division of Juvenile Justice. And so he comes to this court with all of this background, all of these life's experiences. All of these roles have imbued him with the strong characteristics that an appellate judge should have. Knowledge of the law, a great ability to assess facts, review them, apply the law, courage and backbone, wisdom that comes only from a wide range of life's experiences, temperament. And those of you that don't know Reuben will see that as you continue to interact with him in the panels. His demeanor, his patience, his independence, and, as I started out, his dignity. And you get a bonus with Reuben, because of that dignity, should the clerk ever be unable to open court and say, all rise, you can send Reuben out first, and he will have everybody rise in a dignified way. And so, Chief Judge McGee and members of this court, it is my great pleasure to present to you for administration of the oath as a member of this court, the Honorable Reuben Young.
Thank you, Justice Freeman. We very much appreciate your being here and such strong support of Judge Young on this special day. Judge Young, are you ready to take your formal oath of office?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Please step forward. And I believe you have with you your wife Pamela and your sons Brandon and Avery.
I do.
Please place your left hand on the Bible, raise your right hand, be sworn. Do you, Reuben F. Young, solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States, so help you God?
I do.
Do you solemnly and sincerely swear that you will be faithful and bear true allegiance to the state of North Carolina and to the constitutional powers and authorities which are or may be established for the government thereof, and that you will endeavor to support, maintain, and defend the Constitution of said state, not inconsistent with the Constitution of the United States, to the best of your knowledge and ability, so help you God?
I do.
Do you solemnly swear that you will administer justice without favoritism to anyone or to the state, that you will not knowingly take, directly or indirectly, any fee, gift, gratuity, or reward whatsoever for any matter or thing to be done by you by virtue of your office, except the salary and allowances by law provided, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge all the duties as judge of the Court of Appeals of North Carolina to the best of your ability and understanding, and consistent with the Constitution and the laws of this state, so help you God?
I do.
Congratulations and welcome to our court.
Thank you very much.
Judge Young, I think you'll now be assisted by your wife with donning your judicial robe. Please step forward. Judge Young, the judges of the North Carolina Court of Appeals welcome you as our new colleague, friend, and member of this court. As you know, the opportunity to serve as a judge on this court, and indeed service on any court, is a high honor. It's a privilege and a responsibility. I'm confident you will fulfill your duties with distinction, sir. We have a large caseload at our court, and I know you have already participated in your first oral argument just yesterday. We know you will assist this court well in doing the work that the people of North Carolina have entrusted to each of us. Today is clearly your special day, and you are our featured speaker. We invite you to please share your remarks with the people that are here to honor you.
Thank you very much. I have often said that I am blessed beyond what I deserve, and that sentiment is certainly applicable today. The fact of the matter is that we are all beneficiaries of God's grace and mercy beyond what we deserve. As a person of faith, it is not only important that I say that, but I proclaim that as well. So today, I do. Chief Judge McGee, thank you so much for presiding over this ceremony. And Justice Freeman, thank you so much for not only your kind words, but for your friendship and mentorship over the years. I want to thank Chief Justice Sherry Beasley and the members of the North Carolina Supreme Court and my new colleagues on the North Carolina Court of Appeals. I also want to thank the other members of the judiciary for being here as well. I want to thank the governor for having the confidence in me to make this appointment. The governor couldn't be here today because he is carrying out the many responsibilities of that office. But I would be remiss if I did not personally thank him for this appointment to the North Carolina Court of Appeals. I know that some of the members of his staff are here, and I want to personally thank them for their support as well. The Governor's Chief of Staff, Christy Jones, and his General Counsel, William McKinney. Some of you may know that from junior high school through high school, I grew up just a few blocks from here, off Cabarrus Street. My father, as you have heard, was a minister at Rush Metropolitan AME Zion Church. I am the youngest of 6 boys, so you have some sense of what my parents had to go through raising 6 boys in indeed challenging times. I learned, as many of you have, many lessons from my parents. 2 of the most important ones were always do the right thing and work hard. These lessons have proven to be guideposts for my life. I've been fortunate to have worked for 3 governors over the course of my career. And it was my practice to never talk about the conversations that I had with them, because I always treated those conversations as private or attorney-client privilege. However, when Governor Cooper called me to talk about this appointment to the Court of Appeals, he said he wanted me to do 2 things. 1 was to do the right thing, and 2 was to work hard. After the governor said that, I could not help but feel like this is deja vu all over again. Now, I know many of you came here today thinking that there were going to be some profound words spoken, and indeed they were by Justice Freeman. But I suspect that none of you came here thinking that I was going to quote Yogi Berra. I'm extremely blessed to have a family that has always been supportive. My wonderful wife, Pam, is here. In August, we will be married 33 years. I often tell people truthfully that I am the 2nd smartest lawyer in the family. Thank you, sweetheart, for everything. I love you for the rest of my days and until the end of always. Some of you remember my sons from when they were knee-high to a grasshopper. Suffice it to say, not so much now. I'm so proud of the young men they have become and know that they will continue to grow both personally and professionally. Brandon, my oldest, is completing his work on his PhD in biochemistry at the Medical University of South Carolina in Charleston. He graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Maryland in Baltimore County, in Baltimore County, I think that's right, in biology. I am proud of what he has done and the things that I know that he will do in the future. Now, this event is the second most important event for our family this month, because in less than a week, our baby, all 6'2" of him, will be graduating from law school in Ohio. Avery is a proud graduate of UNC Chapel Hill. Now, as soon as he gets that degree conferred upon him, I will automatically become the third smartest lawyer in the family. My mother-in-law is here, Lula Thorpe, who we affectionately call Mima, but she is our queen mother. The truth be told, many of you know her better than you know me. But you know, we live vicariously through my mother-in-law, and I probably most am the beneficiary of that, because I get a chance to wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to take her to the airport for her international flights around the world. My sister-in-law, Rebecca, is here, affectionately known to me as Becky. She retired from a career as a public school educator, teaching in both New Jersey and Georgia. Becky is a lifelong educator. And there are so many of us that are here today that are the beneficiaries of public education. And we owe our teachers, our administrators, and all of those folks a debt of gratitude for their tireless service in that profession. My nephew Justin is here. He attended UNC Chapel Hill and served as the student body president from 2001 to 2002. He is a medical doctor working in Los Angeles. I'm also proud to have my cousins here, Gerald and Yvonne Rush. I'm grateful that they could make it. I have always thought that to be successful, you need to have smart people around you. So I have been blessed to hire a staff that I think will cover up my imperfections. I want to thank Teresa Fuller, who will serve as my executive assistant, David Werner, who will serve as my law clerk, and Caleb Britt, who will serve as my law clerk as well. A couple of years ago, when I was holding court in Wake County, Judge Don Stevens, who's a senior resident Superior Court judge, couldn't be here today, but he and I were working late one evening, and we both had juries out in cases where they were deliberating. And we were discussing a number of things, and we got to some point in the conversation where Judge Stevens said, "Reuben, after people call you Your Honor, this job is really all about the work." While the volume of work speaks for itself, how justice is dispensed with regard to those cases is more important than anything else. This courtroom, like so many others across the state and nation, represents fair and equal treatment for all people that appear before it. It does not matter who you are, where you come from, or what your station in life is. Like God's grace and mercy, justice should be available to all that seek it. A substantial part of my career has involved working with law enforcement. From highway patrol troopers, to sheriffs and sheriff's deputies, to probation parole officers, to correction officers. I have come to learn and appreciate the sacrifices they make every day to keep all of us safe. So whether you are a law enforcement officer, a district attorney, a public defender, defense or plaintiff practitioner, the justice that you seek for the citizens that you represent is a cause that is greater than no other. It is our court's responsibility to ensure that justice that you seek is dispensed fairly and impartially. I am honored to have served as a trial judge and now as a judge on the North Carolina Court of Appeals. Because behind every case is a face, a story, a journey that deserves to be respected and treated with dignity. Our work is seeking the truth and applying the law to everyone, regardless of their race, religion, gender, or station in life. Justice Freeman and I have had a number of conversations over the years, and he may not remember this, but I do. I may not have the correct context of what occurred. So forgive me if I get a little bit off track. But I do believe that there was a time when I was having a discussion with the justice, and it was pretty clear to him that I was not getting to the point quickly enough. Now, if many of you know Justice Freeman, he is very kind and very patient, as he was with me that day. But when I took a breath, he interjected. And he said to me, "You know, Reuben, there comes a point when you've stopped preaching and gone to meddling. So I don't get to that point. And that having been said, let me thank all of you for being here. It is not lost on me that you could be somewhere else, doing something else, but you chose to be here. My family and I are both humbled and grateful by and for your presence. Thank you all again for coming, and may God's grace and peace be with you."